Next up, at UFC 285, we have the featured prelim. We have Cody Garbrandt taking on Trevin Jones. Cody Garbrandt, 12-5 overall. He is a very disappointing 1-4 in his last 5, coming off that knockout loss to Kai Kara France a year ago. And he's taking on Trevin Jones, who's also, well, he's not 1-4. He's 1-3-1, technically, in his last 5. And he's coming off the decision loss to Hani Barcelos. This is a tricky fight to break down because Cody Garbrandt, fast, technical, incredibly clean boxing. We know he can wrestle. He is very good. Former champion. He looks good in every single fight. Can you think of a fight where he actually looked bad up until getting flatlined? I can't.
No, I'll talk about it in my breakdown, but no.
Yeah, he honestly is unbelievable. He's very talented, very good. Dominates until his chin gets touched, and then it just sort of gives out on him, and it sucks because he cannot control that, right? His chin is just not, that is just not something he can control. His first couple of knockouts were his fault. He gets his opponents rocked, he comes charging in, chin up, chasing, and then gets hit. He's tried to tighten that up, tried to clean that up. His chin is his only real issue here because he's fast, technical, powerful, can wrestle, can do all the things, and his performance to win the belt was a very solid one. He's taking on Trevin Jones. He's a fun striker, tons and tons of power, throws things with 100% with bad intentions. He's not the most technical guy, but he does have a BJJ black belt, if it were to get to the ground. The biggest issue with Trevin Jones is he's low volume. He landed 15 strikes against Hani Barcelos. 15. And I get it. Hani was wrestling him, but you'd think after you got out-wrestled the first and the second, the third, you're just letting your hands go. Like, forget it. I'm going to try to make this happen. That's the biggest issue with this breakdown is Trevin Jones' volume is a problem. Because Cody Garbrandt is going to be better. I don't think there's a person on this planet outside of Trevin and his mama that don't think Cody Garbrandt's the better fighter. But Trevin's got such real power. Cody has, his chin, unfortunately for him, has faded. I'm not going to... I got to pick Cody because he's just better everywhere. I have to pick him because he's better. But I'm not going to bet on it because I just, his chin is worrisome. And unless he has like a Glover style... there was a point in Glover's career where his chin just seemed to be gone. And then it came back. And hopefully Cody has that same arc because he's very talented. I want him to be good. I want him to win fights. Cody's going to be the pick, but I can't possibly spend money on this. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a big Cody fan. I mean, that performance against Dominic Cruz was, I think the greatest title win performance of all time. I mean, he absolutely embarrassed a guy that looked like he was pretty much untouchable up to that point, even with the layoffs with Dominic Cruz. And I think Cody Garbrandt is probably one of the most talented fighters maybe the UFC has ever seen as far as like a pure talent standpoint, because that guy has faster hands than anyone, his head movement, his footwork, and he has wrestling. I mean, he can out-wrestle most of those people in the bantamweight division as well. So, yeah, I think he's one of the most talented guys. And as you mentioned, his chin gave out. And a lot of it is his fault with the way that he was fighting, even in that Dominic Cruz fight, because I just rewatched it. I've watched it 1,000 times. I love watching that fight because, fuck Dominic Cruz at this point. I can't stand him as a commentator. I don't know about how you feel, but he used to be my favorite, and he just I can't stand him. But I was watching that fight again, and even in that fight, Cody was loading up the right hand. He got clipped a couple times loading up that right hand in that fight, but his chin held up, and because of the rest of the performance was so dominant, you kind of forget those moments. But I watched a couple times in that fight where I was like, oh shit, there it was right there. The big right hand that he keeps trying to throw, and he gets caught and people beat him to the punch on it. Dominic Cruz was doing it. He just did not drop him. He was beating TJ in both those fights and ended up getting dropped. But this is if you're Cody Garbrandt, this is the perfect matchup for you because you won't have somebody in your face. You can do what you want to do. But if Cody Garbrandt is trying to knock out Trevin Jones, the same thing is going to happen that's always been happening to Cody Garbrandt. He has to come into this fight and want to win by points, which he has never shown in his fights ever in his career. So it's a very, very big red flag against a powerful counter puncher in Trevin Jones, because if Cody starts loading up, Trevin will be there with the counters because that's all he does. That's all he does. If Cody wants to come in, the game plan for me for Cody would be come in, try to just outpoint this guy and mix in a takedown at the end of every single round, because I think he can take down Trevin and just win rounds that way if he wants to. So again, I 100% agree with what you said. I have to pick Cody because he is the better fighter. There's no way in hell I am going to put money on Cody Garbrandt at minus whatever. I wouldn't even put money on him at plus whatever against anyone at this point. He's got to prove it to us. I'll be rooting for the kid. I love him.
Yeah, I think I feel like most people in that group. Somebody commented, I can't find it. I mentioned Glover got his chin back, right? He had a couple bad knockouts in a row, and then he got his chin back, and he went out in his shield and showed that chin is there. Somebody said Andrei Arlovski had the same path. That's exactly right. Andrei Arlovski was getting put out, left the UFC, was getting put out outside of the UFC, came back, and he was just put out, but came back and got another good 3 years in him where his chin was just there all of a sudden. Granted, those are bigger guys, and hopefully something similar happens to Cody Garbrandt. I mean, you and I are completely aligned here. You just can't spend money on...
especially in this fight, he's going to look fantastic in this fight until he doesn't. I hope it doesn't come to that point. But I mean, his hand speed and the way that he can try, he should be in and out on try. Boom, boom, done. Boom, 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 done. But those extended combos, and then it's like, no, Cody. You can almost see him in his face. You can just see his face starts getting red. He's just like, it's like, Cody, no. You just see that right hand coming,
just wide open like this.
Literally, I mean, and all of a sudden, Trevin, oh shit.
Well, we're on the same page. No money to be spent here. Not on a fight. And the odds aren't good. You said you wouldn't even spend plus money on them. People have spent money. People saw 150. They're like, ooh, all right.
He's a better fighter. A lot of pads for him.
He's better everywhere except he's fighting a power puncher and has no chin. And ultimately, that's the problem. Unless he comes in here and wrestles like a beast. But we'll all be rooting for him. Don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen, though. $10 super chat from Sam Pierce. Thoughts on this DKGPP lineup? So a big tournament lineup. Rachmanov, Bo Nickel, Manny Martinez, John Jones, Grasso, Gamrot. Grasso will lose, but give decent points. Listen, GPP is a whole different world. Hopefully you're not building one lineup at a time. So appreciate the $10 super chat. Hopefully you're a premium member. Just go use the optimizer. Yeah, that's what the optimizer's for. Like, go in there.
No, you got to yell at me.
Go in there, pick a few fighters that you 100% want. Pick a few that you want to fade if there are any. Tell it how many lineups you want to build. The optimizer is going to look at the projected scoring, look at the salaries. It's going to look at a lot of different factors and build you a bunch of lineups. So what I'm looking at here, GPP, you need more than one lineup. You're competing against people entering 300 at a time. This seems like a good lineup. This seems like a very good cash lineup, frankly, but GPP, it's a whole different world. Use the tools you have. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Last thing I'll mention there is we have leverage. Leverage is a proprietary number it's a calculation that looks at projected scoring, projected ownership, and then it'll basically tell you this person's going to score a ton of points and nobody else is going to have them. Bang. That's the person that should be in your lineup. And frankly, Bo Nickel might be a problem. Bo Nickel might be somebody you want to avoid in your lineup